Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your June 2020 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. So let's dive into this reading and see what this time period has to offer you. This is going to be from full moon to full moon, so from June 5th to July 5th, and I have everything all set up here for us to discuss about this moon. The new moon is on the 21st of June. All right, so what I'm going to be doing first is I'm going to be taking your Queen of the Moon cards and your Moonology cards and moving them over to the side. These will later be layered on top of the tarot to really give Luna a voice of her own, to really have her express the way that the moon is going to coincide with what the tarot is saying, because I just think that's absolutely beautiful. So let's see what the tarot has to say. How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? Show me clearly, show me clearly, show me clearly, show me clearly, show me clearly. All right. So at the center of everything is the messenger of air. So this is an air sign energy, a Gemini, a Libra, and Aquarius, right? And there is a sense of fighting for and moving towards what you know to be right. So that's beautiful. You're crowned by the Page of Earth, which is an earth sign energy, a Taurus, a Virgo, a Capricorn, strong connection with the Capricorn full moon in July. Then we have the Fool, which is brilliant for this moon. We have the Ten of Fire, the Ten of Wands, the Sun card, I love that, the Three of Fire, the Three of Wands, and the Nine of Earth, the Nine of Pentacles. You have the Strength card, which is a Leo energy, a time frame of July 23rd to August 22nd. The King of Earth, an earth sign energy, once again, a Taurus, a Virgo, a Capricorn. You're really going to see, okay, well, I'll get into that in just a moment. And then the Five of Water, the Five of Cups. It's an end of a cycle, is what you're having here. It's connected with the Ten of Fire, all right? And we move into the Five of Cups. So it's change your mind, change your life. You're really setting down something very distinct, very powerful for yourself here, Pisces, to say, no, this is it, and this is me. And as you do so, you're having your mind and your prosperity come together. It's like you're sitting there and you're saying, I'm taking the reins because it's my time. And you're going to see this fool's journey, okay? So Sagittarius, the full moon in Sagittarius, is all about the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is always a fool's journey, because before you make it, when you have gone outside of the realms of convention, you are a fool. You are. When you are an entrepreneur, when you are an artist, when you are even sitting there and saying, well, I want to broaden my horizons and I don't want to do what is considered, quote unquote, normal, you're considered a fool and people laugh. And so know that as you're moving forward and as you have this prosperity around you, you're going to have people who say, what the heck are you doing? How are you going to be successful? Through grit, determination, and personal power. That is how. And as you're embracing this, the sun rises, the sun shines. There's a beauty, there's a prosperity, there's an abundance, there's a glory to you. And that's what you're looking at. And it's kind of like, oh, thank God. Oh my goodness, like I've been waiting for this, because you're changing your mind and you're changing your whole entire life. You're burning old stories, old truths, old pains, and you're moving forward. And as you're doing this, the full moon in Sagittarius is saying, look at the big picture. And that's what you're doing for yourself. You're looking at the big picture. You do not want other people to dictate your life for you. And so as you're taking aim at what you desire, because this is bolting the arrow, pulling back the arrow of passion, of distinction, of, determination. This is the visionary moon. And Sagittarius is linked to truth-telling and truth-seeking. And this is living your truth. This is walking on your journey. And as you embrace this hero's journey, you're sitting there and you're saying, I'm the knight, I'm the defender of my truth, of my power, and what makes me. And sometimes when we boil things down to say, I am the ruler of my truth, sometimes we realize some very interesting things that we think are true. And they can be some very broken things that we sit there and it's like, well, isn't that normal? And then something happens and you look at it and you're like, that's not normal at all. That's not the way things are supposed to be. You're not supposed to be afraid. You're not supposed to be, anxious all the time. You're not supposed to be. And it's like, oh, well, my, didn't I have it wrong? And so as you move forward with the sword, with the cutting through of the doubts and the fears, you are bolting that arrow and you are taking aim at what you desire. And as you look at the big picture, you are seeing that extremes move you forward. But also what's really cool about this time period, on the 5th of June and on the 5th of July, we're going to have a lunar eclipse, the full moon eclipse. So here it says conclusions are within reach. It's through the darkness and it's almost through the void of the brightness that we see the truth coming forward, and it can tumble over us like shadows. All right. So there is a sense of seeing what it is that we desire, what it is that we need. And as we see this truth, we embrace our power, we embrace our glory, and it moves us to extremes. But know that as we're coming from this moon, all right, so we've come out of a phase of four supermoons, which make emotions run high. And we've seen the state of the world. It's insane, right? So here, emotions are running high, and then we go into as emotions start to come down, we go into the full moon eclipse, and we'll go into one full moon eclipse and then another, and we have a solar eclipse on the 21st of June, which is the new moon. So emotions, again, are going to be running high. There's going to be a sense of a spotlight, but it's through the darkness. It's through own personal reflection that you move forward. And it's kind of like, this is rather funny, but ever since I was in my mid to late teens, I decided that I was going to pledge myself to, I thought, it would be so cool to do the goddess, and because I'm Catholic, I was like, oh, well, she translates into Mary. So I would say to her, whether I walk in your light or whether I walk in your shadow, I want to walk with you. And that, simply saying that, and I've said it every year since, has, I firmly believe, altered the course of my existence, altered the course of the way I move forward. So it's kind of like, in your light or in your shadow, I am walking with you. I am moving myself towards these conclusions. And it just came so beautifully forward. And this blue, I always would picture these blue robes and just either walking in the shadow or in the light. And so here, for me, that really is representing the throat chakra, your truth. And so as you have conclusions running forward, yes, you are drawn to extremes, because in the Queen of the Moon, the June moon is the hot moon. But in the Farmer's Almanac, it is the strawberry moon. It is also traditionally known as a honeymoon. So it is a sweetness. There is a sweetness. There's a beauty to it. And that's something that you're embracing, even though it does have the extremes of the emotions coming forward. And that's why you need to keep aim on the bigger picture, because as you do so, you're embracing the power of Artemis during this time, because Sagittarius is strongly linked to the goddess Artemis. And what's so cool about that is that Artemis is the goddess of the hunt and of the moon. So the moon is astoundingly impactful for you. She's also fierce. I mean, there's also a power to her when you think of the hunt, when you think of the moon, and she represents freedom and independence. Now, what's so interesting about Artemis, and in Roman mythology, she is Diana. She's one of the virgin goddesses. And you sit there and, there's a complicated relationship that we have, especially in our modern age, with virgin goddesses, right? We have them in Christianity with the Virgin Mary, and you have them throughout other religions. I just know that one the best. I think it's Kuan Yin in Buddhism. And so here, there is this sense of thinking, okay, well, that means sexually I have to be pure, chaste, whatever. And it actually doesn't. Because yes, you can literally translate it to that. If that's what makes you feel happy and good within your life, go for it. If it doesn't, it is taking your independence back. Because the thing with ancient marriages in the Greek world, in the ancient Greek world and in the ancient Roman world, is that you didn't have a say. And it's really interesting because you didn't have a say, even if you were a man. Your father arranged your marriages. They were political, and they were astoundingly political. We think divorce is a modern thing. It's not. In the ancient Roman world, you could be divorced. Your father would look at your arrangement and say, how is this helping me? And how is this helping my wealth, my business? All right? And if the family that he had married you two fell out of favor, all right, you could be divorced. He could say, you're being divorced, get the papers done, and marry you to somebody else. It doesn't matter if you had kids. It didn't matter if you were male or female. It didn't matter if you were happy or unhappily married. It didn't matter if the person that you were going to be married to was now 40 years older than you. It just didn't matter. So in ancient tradition, when you have a virgin goddess, you have somebody who's in control of their own sexuality, their own power, their own creativity, their own life force energy. And that is intense. And that's what you are really taking hold of during this time. So even though it sounds a bit prudish to say, virgin goddess type of thing, the energy, the reasoning behind it is going to have you surrendering to the divine to say, this is my power, this is my truth, this is my freedom, this is my independence, this is, as I move forward, what I'm embracing. And from the shadows come tremendous power. Because, she's the goddess of the hunt. Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. Diana is the goddess of the hunt. You have this then also seen with the goddess Athena. Now, Athena was turned into Minerva, so she was lessened in her power, yes, by the Romans, but she was the goddess of war. Athena was the goddess of war. She was the goddess of wisdom. And that is a power that she had because she was in control of her life and herself. And that's the power that you will be embracing. Now, this moves us to the the new moon in Cancer. And this time is a time of beginnings and ends. I just see the god Janus in Roman mythology really coming forward. He's this two-headed god, and because he's the god of beginnings and endings, he's also the god of doorways. And the new moon is a portal, is a doorway into your abundance, into your power, into yourself. And with it being in Cancer, it really has to do with the heart and those that you love. And it says you and your loved ones are safe. And isn't that what we want to hear, especially during these times? To know that around the 21st, there's a safety, there's a security that's automatically coming around us, encompassing us, guiding us. A new start is coming, and you're entering into beginnings. You have a winter and you have a summer that you're walking into. So you have extremes that you are walking into. And this, for me, very much shows that you're going to be pulled to the past in some very profound way. And it's coming through loud and clear with the 5 of water. The 5 of water is saying, change your mind, change your life. Look at the positive and not the negative. Walk through that doorway. Embrace what you desire, what you need. Because as you're moving forward and as you're embracing this love, this truth, you're guided by Mercury during the month of June. That's the ruling planet of June, and it's going to lead you to the ruling planet of July, being the moon. And so here, communication, understanding is going to be a driving force. And then you have Artemis, who is the goddess of the moon, as a driving force, because she's so strongly represented and connected to Sagittarius, the huntress, taking aim. The bow and arrow was her weapon of choice. So as you're taking aim towards what you want, as you're looking at things decisively and precisely, you move into July and you move into the full moon in Capricorn, which says the end of a tough cycle, which hallelujah, right? So here with the full moon in Capricorn, the end of the tough cycle comes because of change coming forward. And it's going to rock your world like a thunderbolt, because a thunderclap, yes, a lightning bolt, a thunderclap. So with the thunderbolt, with the thunderclap, you feel it. You feel it in your bones. It's kind of like it makes you jump. The things that are changing. You're sitting there and you're like, oh my goodness, am I ready for this? Can I move forward this way? Do I know what I need? Do I know what I desire? Because the end of the tough cycle comes. It doesn't mean that everything's roses and butterflies. It means that you've gritted your teeth. You've moved forward. And you're taking kind of the bull by the horns. And as you do so, you're seeing things more truthfully. And it might also be that you're seeing things more intensely than you had before. So the change comes. Now, what's also important about this moon is that this is the stag moon. This is the buck moon in the Farmer's Almanac. And why that's important is because the stag is the king of the forest. Just like a Bambi. I haven't watched that movie in forever. And yet this time is making me think of it so much. So Bambi is orphaned. He starts off, his mother, is shot by a hunter. He has to rear himself. And that's the beginning of a hero's journey. A hero's journey, if you've read Joseph Campbell, or if you read mythology, you're sitting there, or folklore, you're sitting there and you're like, why are they always orphans? Why? And it's because it shows how we are in this kind of alone. We might have a tremendously fantastic family unit around us. We might have friends that absolutely adore us. But in the end, it is your life and it is your path. And that is greatly shown when everything else is taken away. And so here, you have that, evolution of Bambi. You have Bambi growing up, you have him making friends, you have, beauty and laughter around him. And then you have the friends growing up and going their own way, showing that everybody branches, everybody moves forward towards themselves, towards their truths. Whether you are, seriously close to people or not, some places you just can't follow others. And then he meets his father, and he's the king of the forest, and Bambi learns that he will one day be king of a forest. You will one day be the king of your existence. And that's a powerful truth. And so as the end of this tough cycle comes into play, you see the changes. You see that conclusions are within reach. You see yourself moving towards what you desire. And as you do so, the spirit animals for June really do play a powerful part in this, because you have the deer spirit. Not only is this connecting with Bambi's mom, right? But this is saying to us, bring a gentle touch. And you have an herbivore and a carnivore. You have an animal that is perceived to be astoundingly gentle. But have you ever walked upon a deer, like come really close to one? I have. I swear to God, my heart stopped for just a moment. I was like, oh my gosh, you're supposed to be this docile little thing that, frolics in the woods. And that deer could break me. If she kicked me, she would have broken my ribs. No joke. And so here, it's like, it's gentleness. It's gentleness. It's compassion. It's everything that we think of when we think of what we should be. Gentle, compassionate, loving. But it's doing so and not being defenseless. It's doing so and not having people walk all over you. And as you embrace this, you see that you are strong and brave when you need to be. But you're doing your thing and you're living your life. And so as you're embracing this, it brings a natural beauty into your existence. It brings an innocence to you because you're doing you. And you're looking at things and thinking, how can I increase the beauty in the world instead of decreasing it? And it leads you to the eagle spirit, which says spirit has your back. And the fun thing with the eagle spirit is that eagles can fly higher than any other bird, and they can see more clearly. So here, well, not than any other bird, but then human beings, because birds of prey are the only sight hunters that are better than us humans. So what is so interesting about that is that's why we categorize everything by sight, because our ability to be sight hunters is just extreme, okay? And then our ability to work in a group and take down large prey is phenomenal. So with an eagle, since an eagle can fly higher than any other bird, you're seeing that spirit flies higher than you can possibly fly, than you can possibly even imagine. And as you're seeing this, you're also seeing that spirit sees more clearly. So it's time to step back. And it's time to say, yes, spirit has my back, and spirit has far more wisdom than I can ever have. And it gives you courage, it gives you insight. And as it gives you courage and insight, you move to the spirit animals of July. And what's so funny is that I don't have a one of them in my cards. So the spirit animals of July are the woodpecker spirit and the salmon spirit. The woodpecker spirit protects those who are weaker than them. That's just what they do. And they also have a passion for finding the truth, for rekindling the truth within you. So I have the brown bear spirit, which says take time out, because bear spirits, they are the ones, the spirit animal of the bear protects. That's their job. They protect those who are weaker. And so you have that inclination coming forward, and you have this beauty, this seed that you are planting at your soul. And the hummingbird spirit is because as you rekindle your passion for the truth, as you live in your passion for the truth, and it's your truth, it doesn't have to be anybody else's. You're in the present now. You're here now. And as you're doing so, you're seeing that you can take down that bird, the eagle. You can take down the eagle because even though it is little, even though truth might be microscopic at times, it is powerful, and it is more powerful than we imagine. And that leads you to the salmon spirit, which I have the koi fish spirit standing in. And the salmon spirit is about rebirth and moving forward and happiness and eternal life and the divine feminine. And it is saying that when you have the salmon as your spirit animal, when you have the salmon looking over you, love, is ordained over you. Love is what you follow with your heart. And so it says there's always enough, because there's always enough love in the world, even though we think that there isn't. And that is a sad place that we human beings put ourselves. There's just not enough love for me. Well, there is. There absolutely is. There's always enough, and it is always around you. And yes, sometimes it is gosh darn hard to have that love shine forward, because we are going through stuff. And sometimes we can't understand emotionally where another person is coming from. They have to walk their journey. You have to walk yours. And as long as you are coming from respect, that should be enough. I truly believe, and I know I'm just kind of veering off here, but Spirit is saying, in Christianity, when Jesus said, love thy neighbor as thyself, and not to get all religious, but I don't believe he meant, love. I believe he meant respect. Because truly loving a person, seeing the very essence of God within them, that's huge. That is huge. And I don't think that we were set up for failure. So if you can get to that point, that agape love, then that is the love to live in. That is the love that is the very foundation of being. But if you can get to respecting, could you imagine how good the world would be if we just respected one another? If we sat there and said, I see you as a human being, as a valued human being, and I respect you? That would be huge. We'd have such a shift in consciousness. It would be amazing. We'd be walking into a new reality. And that's where we need to be. And we're on the cusp of something great. But while you're on the cusp of something great, you are shown so much of what you don't want to see. I believe this is a 10 of Cups year. A 10 of Cups years, and they all live happily ever after. And it's like, well, what the heck is this? What the heck is going on here? And when you are moving towards your happily ever after, your joy, your beauty, your prosperity, all the negativity has to be judged out. It's like stirring up a bowl that it has stagnant water in it, or one of those ponds that is stagnant. Everything has to be judged up, cleaned out, so that there is this beauty, so that there is this purity within your life. And it's the purity of your heart. And here, you're a defender of your mind. And you have to have your heart and your mind coexisting. For you, Pisces, as a water sign energy, you cannot move forward if your heart is not connected. And when your heart isn't connected, there's a sense of sorrow, there's a sense of despair, there's a sense of being overwhelmed. And so here, as you are defending your mind, you cannot be simply logic. I believe that we are emotional beings, and when we go to the extremes in anything, we tend to think, oh, okay, I'm going to be more logical, because that's how I'm going to be successful. And that's what life dictates. Or you have those people who are just completely emotional all the time, and they're a roller coaster ride. It's being right in the middle. It's saying, I need to talk to my heart, because so often we don't do that. And during this time, you're going to have really deep conversations with your heart self. Emotionally, how is this affecting me? How do I want to move forward? Where is it that I want to be? What is my value and what is my purpose? And it can be that, you might not think you have a lot of value. And then you have to set yourself straight as to why. Because if some people can think that they're worth billions and go after it and not be any better than you and achieve, why cannot you achieve? And it does not mean if you are not worth billions that you have failed, right? It means that maybe you have to change your plan of approach, and maybe you will not be worth billions, because that's quite a feat. Being happy and contented within your life, saying, I have lived a life well spent. The minutes mean something to me, and they are filled with more joy and laughter than sorrow and anger. That's huge. And that's worth more than billions in the bank. The billions would be nice to come along with it, wouldn't it? So as you're moving forward, you are bracing and you are gracing yourself. You have an air sign energy, a Gemini, a Libra, and Aquarius. This person can be helping you. Astoundingly, look at the future, burn away the negative narrative of the past, but also it's embracing what your mind truly wants as you move forward. And it brings you to the King of Earth, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Your mind and your practicality might be at war with each other. You might sit there and think, again, I have to release my heart. Pisces, if you release your heart or you fall into despair of emotion, that is a very dangerous place, first of all, to be, period. But it's a very dangerous place as a water sign energy, because your heart is everything to you. It's like you are your heart chakra. And so you have to have that strong, beautiful connection with it. The king of earth is saying, embrace your prosperity, because messages are coming your way. They're like being held on the wind for you of how to be prosperous, of to wear those antlers as the bucks do. Right? In July, right? You're going to see yourself having done almost a paradoxical shift. It's almost as if you stepped into a new dimension, one that you are quite pleased with. And it might be one that brings its own, trials and tribulations and angers and upsets, but it's one that is prosperously and powerfully yours. And you are a king there. Do not underestimate the power of claiming your throne and saying, this is where I sit and this is what I stand for. You are a student of prosperity, a student of what you desire, a student of your wealth, right? This means that you will forever be looking for new ways to increase your prosperity. Do not be afraid to take different paths. Do not be afraid to try, to fail, all right? And to keep on trying. Put in your time, put in your effort, and go for it. Because the student has to study, has to learn. But the student is also brave, because there is endless possibility out there for you. Be brave, be bold, be strong, and go for it. Because you have here, you start off as a student for your fool's journey, for your hero's path, and you become a king. You're going to think, Pisces, I can't do this. And that's going to be a really strong narrative for you during this time. I just can't. I just can't. I have to learn more. I have to understand more. The Leo energy comes in, and this is one of the things that I love about Leos, all right, is that it's like, I'm going to succeed and you're welcome. I'm not going to be held back. Fire sign energy tends to have that drive to them, or that sometimes it almost feels like a delusion. And I'm not saying that fire sign energies are delusional, but there's just sense of, I am going to succeed and failure is not an option. And when you look at that and you're a person who comes from the heart, okay, you might sit there and think, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And this is like, kind of grabbing the bull by the horns, let's say, and moving forward. It's like, this is what I want. And then things start coming to you because you're not going to accept anything else. You're going to keep on moving forward. You're going to keep on calling your passion, your intuition, your desires to you. And that's what I love about Leo energies. Sometimes, when Leos go to the extreme, it's like, whoa, man, hold on. But when Leos are right in their sweet spot, they're unstoppable. And it's enviable how powerful they are. And that's what you're doing during this time. It's almost as if you're learning. And I don't mean that in an insulting way at all. I mean it in a very powerful way. You're learning to call, to trumpet that power to you with the Fool. It's like, this is my goal. My goal is to live in prosperity. My goal is to be able to have my life the way I want it. And as you have that goal pulling you forward, you have the sun at your root. And the thing is, and it's frustrating, Pisces, because you see glimpses of it. The sun is your prosperity, your success, your bounty. It's the happiest card in the whole entire deck. It's like you have won. And people see it. So you have this radiance to you, and it's shown here with the 9 of Earth too. You have this radiance to you that people see. You may not see it because you have the 5 of Water. So you're looking somewhere else. You're like looking into the deepest, darkest shadow and saying, it's like you're looking at the dark side of the moon and saying, I need to get light here. There's not going to be light there. There's not going to be light there. I mean, period. End of discussion. Turn around. Look at what you can do, what you can accomplish, and start setting yourself these goals of success, because it moves you to the 2 of Cups, the minor arcana Lover's card. It moves you to love, to radiance, to joy, to prosperity, to bounty. And it calls you to this. And it walks you through this pathway to success, to what it is that you want. The 3 of Fire is looking at your future, looking at the ships that you are putting out, looking at the way that you are moving forward and saying, well, hot damn, I can do this. And it's funny about success. Once you start being successful, it comes, okay? It does. It starts slowly and steadily, but it comes. And there's a tenacity to it that you're embracing during this moon. There's a tenacity to your life that you are looking at and saying, I'm opening the door. I'm moving myself forward. I will not be held back. And as you do so, I mean, this makes me think, when I was little, my mom used to have us write prayers or wishes to our angels, right? And she would have us do it for what we desire from life. But she would also have us do it for what was negative in our lives. She said, because if you burn it, she's like, it just releases from you. It's that black smoke going up into the air. It's saying, no more is it for me. And if you burn what you desire, you're sending it to your angels and saying, here, please read this, because you read the smoke on the wind. I always thought that was so pretty. And so here, it is burning the negative. It is saying, this isn't part of my story anymore. And it is also setting light to the positive and saying, angels, this is what I want. Because you're completing a cycle. You're not going to carry... Okay, so you know in stories, how there'll be a never-ending book in some stories. But the book is usually thin, or it can be relatively thick. But it is never-ending. The pages never run out. That's what I see here. But you don't want that huge, thick book to be carrying around. You want a thin book. And so it is taking the pages that are no longer part of your narrative and saying, those get burnt. Those I can come back to. I mean, you're never going to forget it. But you're not going to live in the sense of, I have to carry around these burdens, these doubts, these fears, because you're moving forward. And as you're moving forward, you're changing your cycle. You're changing what it is that you're focusing on. And you move to the Five of Water. You move to the sense of prosperity, success. You change your mind, you change your life. You find the Two of Cups and say, this is what I love. This is my love. This is my desire. And it moves you to the King of Earth, prosperity, success, bounty, claiming it. And as you do so, it's the Nine of Earth. It's people seeing this prosperity. It is you finding this beauty. It is looking at the big picture of what you desire. And at times, Pisces, you're not going to see this at all within yourself. You're just not. You're going to sit there and think, wow, this is for somebody else. Or, oh, wouldn't it be nice if I could be like this? And people will look at you and be like, Pisces, what the heck? You know more than you think you do. You have greater power than you think you do. And you're radiating with it. Why don't you see it? And so here, you're embracing that success. You're embracing that power. You are embracing that radiance, that abundance, that wealth. You are coming close to a completion of a cycle, but you're also being kind to yourself. And you're being kind to others. And you have to watch out as you embrace a 9 time, all right, that you aren't giving away that kindness to kind of keep the peace. Because there's a fear almost of how to move forward towards the cycle of what you want. And as you do so, you're going to enter into the Fool's time. This is 0, the very beginning, eternity, a circle, trumpeting towards it, your angels calling you towards it, you embracing your heart, your soul, yourself, your desire. The Fool is guiding you. And you are going to think, oh my God, this is so foolish. Like, who is going to respect this? Who is going to understand this? Who is going to see me? And oh my gosh, Pisces. So many more people than you even imagine. There's a world opening for you. It's almost as if you're stepping into a portaled truth. Okay, so I have a friend who told me to read this book, Transurfing. And I thought, okay, sounds weird, but okay. And he's like, no, it's really cool. He's like, Dane, you'll really like it. He's like, just also work past the beginning, because the beginning is kind of weird. So I'm reading it. And actually, he sent me the link on YouTube to it. So I'm listening to it on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, this is a bit weird. And then I get through like the first little bit. And I'm like, this is actually really beautiful. This is super beautiful. And what he says, and I forgot the guy's name. He says that, if you could believe in string theory, then there are a million different aspects of ourselves, a million different dimensions of ourselves. It's like, okay, fine, true. Or maybe true, who knows? And he's like, in each dimension, you are living differently than you are living now. All right, some are better, some are worse, some you will never want to touch. But with this idea of a positive mindset, we believe that if we work really hard, we can change things. And he's like, what if it's just kind of simply changing the confines of the reality around you and stepping into that dimensional self that is prosperous, that is bountiful. Now, it sounds really easy. I have found that it takes a lot of work, a lot more work than maybe you would even think. And this could just be my way of embracing this journey. But I had to work things out, and I have to work things out. And it's really talking with my angels. It's talking with my spirit guides. It's, it's even talking with people who are professionals and help you work things out. And it's like, okay, well, why is it like this? And why is it like that? And working through these truths and saying, well, I know fundamentally what I'm supposed to be doing. Why can't I move into that reality? And so here, I'll link, I'll try to remember, I keep on forgetting, to link the book in the description box below. And I'll link it to the YouTube channel. So here, that's with the Fool's Journey. It's like you are walking into a dimensional truth, a dimensional way of being. And you're walking into like this new world. And as you walk into this new world, you walk into this new self. And you don't want to be what once was. You want to be more. And with this, okay, and Spirit is saying, make it clear that if you fall and fail, this is not saying that this can't be yours. This is just saying you're not quite ready for this yet. You're not quite there yet. And so there needs to be that bit more work to move forward to the next reality of what you're creating and what you want, because you have the strength and you have the power to do so, and you will be doing it. So that is, you're claiming a new dimension of success. And it's literally walking through the portal of reality into the reality of the successful, prosperous, positive you, which sounds wild. I mean, I have to say, but it's truth. It is truth. How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? Show me clearly, show me clearly, show me clearly. Oh, okay. How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? How will Pisces be affected by the June 2020 full moon? Show me clearly, show me clearly, show me clearly. Okay. So there's a strong Gemini presence here with the Knight of Air and then the Gemini full moon right here. Okay, so there's a duality to you. There's a duality to what you want, to what you're discovering, and here there's a sense of focus from the messages on the air, from the messages within your mind, within yourself, to move you forward. And there's a focusing on the rebirth of self. So on the mind, it's almost like an opening of the third eye chakra, the opening of the crown chakra that is really seeing you moving forward. So just be mindful of this, that it can be astoundingly overwhelming. Yeah, as you walk this path and as you claim this path. And as you do so, the answers you need are coming as you embrace your prosperity, as you embrace what you desire. And as the answers come, creation abounds by you. You're going to see yourself being a student of what you want to create. And you're also going to see yourself walking down avenues that you might never have thought would be yours. You might be sitting there and be like, oh, wow, this is wild. And let it be wild. Let this be a wild time. Let this be an intense time for you. Let this be a profoundly creative time for you. Right? Because you're studying, you're learning, you're understanding, you're pushing boundaries. And as you push these boundaries, you have adjustments are required to claim this strength. Because there's a part of you, all right, Pisces, the thing that I love about Pisces, I love you guys because you have such a beautiful heart. And also it's so easy to relate to what holds you back because it's fear. And it's such an easy thing to pinpoint. And it's something that gets us all. So Pisces, with you, if you can conquer your fears, okay, because you are the moon, if you can conquer the fears of the shadows, you can conquer your whole entire life. And here, it's like adjustments are required to call the strength into your life, to call this power into yourself. And as the adjustments are required, it leads you to a realization I wanted to say resolution here, and I'm like, no, that's wrong. So there's a resolution that's coming, because that's what Spirit is telling me. There's a resolution that's coming. It's like things are becoming resolved to move you forward through that portal, through that keyhole, okay, into that truth, into the sun. So there's a realization of what needs to be done to bring, and there's this resolution that's done within you that brings this forward. And as you embrace this power, it leads you to your commitment being tested. Okay, so it leads you to saying, are you committed to looking at the 3 cups that have spilt in your life? The failures, the disappointments, the hardships, the pains, the angers, the people who were supposed to have your back but just didn't. Or are you going to turn and look at the 2 of cups, the love that stands? It can be the love of 2 people. It can be 2 people that are your rocks. It can be, the love of your spiritual and your practical self coming together. But your commitment to you is being tested. To bring to fruition what you want, you have to move forward. Okay, that's it. It's like you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And as you do so, it leads you to the void, of course. Nothing will come of this situation. As you release the negative, as you release so much, you're not going to feel the shift that you want to right away. You're not. It's going to come more around July. All right. It can also bleed into August, most definitely. All right. So here, you're going to find that as you release, what you think will happen is not going to be necessarily what hits you right between the eyes right away. What you think of, with the void, of course, it's kind of like what you think, you almost get the exact opposite of. So just be very mindful of this. Be very mindful of this as you release a negative cycle, as you release the burdens that have been weighing you down. You might expect, wow, I really expect to feel free, and you're not feeling free. And you're like, why? What's going on here? The answers you need are coming, but you need to commit yourself to yourself, because your commitment is being tested. And as you commit yourself to yourself, as you embrace this power, this resolution, you have sovereignty coming in. Sovereignty is the queen of the moon. You are embracing this beautiful power of the moon around you. You are embracing yourself, and it moves you to the 9 of earth. It moves you to prosperity, success, bounty, abundance. And it's like, this is where I deserve to stand, and this is who I am. And as it leads you to this, you have a fiery climax approaching. Now, as you embrace this power, this fiery climax will be building within you. So just be very mindful of that energy around you. As you start your fool's journey, a fiery climax approaches. A fiery, embrace of self approaches. And it moves you forward. It's like that battering ram, because you have the ram right here. It's the full moon in Aries. So it's like, I'm going for this. And that's the Aries time period. It's March 21st to April 19th. You might find that it takes a while to really kind of get your footing on your hero's quest. And that's completely fine. Do not sit there and compare yourself to everybody else. Compare yourself to you and let yourself fly. Let yourself shine. Because adjustments are going to be required. You're going to need to test things out. Find your footing. Find your groove. All right? That's very important for you, Pisces, to feel comfortable within your skin, within what you're doing, within the energy that's surrounding you. And then the answers you need come. They come. And they come and they enlighten and they embolden and they set you free. They really do. Your subconscious message for this time is the messenger of fire. Fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You have a knight's energy during this time, and a king's. So kings who were knights were much more valued than kings who were never knights. So you have this defender, prosperous, determined energy. Illumination is around your crown, around your third eye chakra. There's a sense of brightness, of light coming in. Of fire, determination, dedication. Strong Leo energy, yes. Strong Aries energy, yes. That's guiding you forward. This then leads you to the subconscious moon message, which is hunger. The wolf moon. You're hungry for this change, and you're howling towards it. You're defending, you're fighting for it. Now, the thing with the wolf moon is, I believe the wolf moon is in January, or it can be February. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's January. And the thing with the wolf moon is that it's when wolves become really hungry in the dead of winter and start being much more brazen because they're starving than they would be naturally. And so there's a bit of this hunger, this desperation for it. subconsciously, you know it. It's like you are so hungry for this change, you're starving for it. And that's what's leading you forward. That's what you're howling to fulfill, to fill, to guide yourself by. And this leads you to your subconscious, the rest of your subconscious lunar message, which is the new moon in Pisces. So there's a new path for you. And it says, meditate and contemplate. So you are hungry for this, and you're going to think, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do. I'm just going to achieve, succeed, and burn down everything else. It's like, be hungry for it. Meditate, contemplate. Don't let yourself rush off, in this fiery, this knowledge-filled fire, because you have the air of nights, and you have the fire of nights. So you have the air of, not the air of, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands here. And those feed each other. Air feeds fire, air feeds fire, air feeds fire. So be mindful of this as you're moving forward. Your mind will fuel your intuition, and it'll keep on going forward until you feel at times like a fool. And you don't want to be foolish. You want to be on your hero's quest. You want other people not to understand, but you don't want to kind of, screw yourself over, pretty much. You don't want to mess things up for you. So just be mindful of that here as you're moving forward, because you're so hungry for it. You're so hungry for it that it can become all-encompassing. And I feel it like this tenseness in my arms, kind of like you've just pulled your arms really tight and wanted to go for it, want this so much. So know that you're just, you're going to be hungry for it. You're going to be driven towards it, okay? And let that be in a peaceful, compassionate, love-filled way. All right, Pisces, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May you have a blessed moon. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Bye.